Jonathan Macmillan from Enterprise Ireland, and perhaps he can help say a few words for us this morning or this afternoon. Beg your pardon. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Anne-Marie. Maybe if folks can hear me, they can give me a thumbs up or a quick wave or something. Oh, perfect. We're live. So thanks a million, Anne-Marie, and just on behalf of Enterprise Ireland, it's so nice actually. I'm looking across the names and the tiles, and I actually know quite a lot of you. So some I know I met relatively recently, just before Christmas. So it's always really nice whenever we see people that we know and clients. And just as an introduction, so to remind ourselves, our main driver in Enterprise Ireland is to help you as our clients to grow your businesses, to become world-class in the fields that you're in, global leaders. We really believe in that, scaling our companies to grow jobs in Ireland, but it's all through international growth. It's all through those exports. And as you know, in our leadership and scaling team in Enterprise Ireland, we have a range of supports and programs that we work with you in our companies, and that's probably how I know some of you. And the others who maybe I know, I worked for 16 years in our overseas office network. So I may have met you whenever I was in the UK or in Europe or whenever I was over in the States. And I always had this real interest in the companies that would come over to work with us in our overseas office networks, where we're down to kind of nitty-gritty of winning business and contracts. And I always knew the companies whenever I met them who had been through some of our scaling and leadership development programs without them ever actually saying it. And GoGlobal4Growth was definitely one of those, because we have been running it. I think we're on our 10th program. Is that right, Anne-Marie? So you have the privilege in this one. It's not something we've just come up with. We've been doing it every year over the last number of years, and we've been honing it and refining it. But the reason I say I knew the companies whenever I was in the overseas, because it's so important that whenever you hit those,
I'm just sitting and watching it, and you can sort of come and go as you please.
So just a reminder, put yourself in mute.
Yeah.
But it was always really evident whenever companies arrived in, or executives arrived into us who had done their research, done their strategy, looked at their senior team, had a business plan in there, had the coaches working with them. And it made absolutely all the difference in terms of then growing that business and scaling it. So Leadership for Growth for us is absolutely one of our top programs. Over those 10 programs, I personally have seen companies come with their senior teams, do the hard work through it, facilitated by Anne-Marie and Finian and Roddy and the teams, and come out the other end with a scaling growth strategy that they implement. And I've seen those companies soar and scale and grow their jobs and diversify and go into new export markets. It's been an absolute privilege to do it. And the final piece I'll just hit on it is, we do pick our partners very carefully who we do this with. We have chosen, and we've been working over the years with DCU. I love the title that DCU use in terms of University of Enterprise, and I think it perfectly describes what it's all about, because we do seek world-class input in terms of strategy and finance and all the things that Finian will talk through, but it has to be practical for you and your teams, and that's how we've got the mix now with the growth advisors and Roddy and the team, and we link up with the academic piece as well. So it has to be practical and pragmatic, and that's why we get so excited about it. And my final thing before I hand back to Anne-Marie and Finian is, we stay really close with you in this journey. So whether it's through ourselves and my team and Yvonne and Lara and the guys, or whether it's through your DAs, we will be with you every step of this and helping you build out what supports you need to build that strategy or to revise that strategy, and actually then put the financial and non-financial supports right into you to help you then execute that. So that's what. Hopefully you'll hear the excitement in my voice and the line hasn't broken up too badly. but we get really excited whenever we have companies interested in these type of things, and we get really excited whenever we get people signing up for them. If you have any questions about how we can support you in this journey, then reach out to myself directly, and I'd love to have those further conversations. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Jonathan, thank you very much. You're very, very eloquent and great timing. At this stage, thank you. Look, Finian, I would like to call on you if you're ready to take the floor, please, and you can outline the program for us.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. First of all, to welcome you all. It's really good to see at this moment we have 85 people participating in the briefing, which is a really healthy number. Very positive. First of all, to introduce myself, my name is Finian Buckley. I'm here at Dublin City University. I'm a professor in the business school. I'm a work psychologist by training many years ago, but I've been running this program and indeed programs similar to this for well over a decade at this stage. So I think my notches in terms of SMEs passing through the program at this point, this program and other iterations of it, we're running well north of 200 firms have come through this program and the previous program. So I have a bit of experience in the area in terms of designing programs like this. And I would understand quite clearly that busy SME leaders like yourselves look at the university sector and think, well, what is it these guys can offer us? You know, the old ivory towers type of, I suppose, stereotype or perception of a university. My job really is to dispel that and show that DCU is a little different to that. We characterize ourselves as a university of enterprise, and that means that we stay close to employers and importantly to Irish Indigenous employers, to SME employers like yourselves, understanding what your needs are, reacting to that, and really supplying what your needs are. What I'm going to do for about 15 minutes is I'm going to try and give an overview of the program in a couple of stages. And really this is so that everybody here has a good sort of handle of what the program is about. And you're equipped with the insights where you can make a pretty shrewd decision as to whether this program is for you, whether it fits your stage of growth, whether it fits your ambition, and whether it fits your readiness also, because the program is demanding, and some firms may not be ready for it. And we're upfront and ready to work with you on that as well. So about 15 minutes to help me along in time-honored fashion. Obviously, as an academic by training, I'm going to use PowerPoint. That's my security blanket. So if we start this, and Anne-Marie will keep me tuned if we're going to have if we have any problems as we move along. Okay. So getting us moving, as Jonathan explained, this is the 10th iteration of the program. We have nearly 150 firms have gone through this program before you. We tend to take somewhere in the region of 12 to 15 firms on each program. So it's a team program, and I'm going to mention this about 4 times over the next 15 minutes. This is really important. It's a team program. It's not for the CEOs alone. It's for the CEO or the MD, whoever is the leader of the firm, plus 2 to 3 others from the senior team that will come along. Now, that might focus some of you when you think about who are my senior team. Some of you may have a larger senior team than that. Some of you may not have got to the point where you actually identify people as being on a senior team or a leadership team. So that may focus your thinking in that way, but the program is for the team. So in other words, yes, it's a leadership development program, but it's not an individual or singular leadership development program. It's a program that's focused at developing a leadership team. So that means if you're going to come on the program, then you will be bringing 2 to 3 others with you. The program will not work if only one person is coming from a firm. We'd prefer you didn't actually come, that it just isn't designed and worked in a way that will facilitate development and progression for one individual alone. So our 10th iteration, We have Leo Clancy here, who is the CEO of Enterprise Ireland, and Derek Keogh, the president of DCU. And when we look at the sort of strategic plans for both organizations, Enterprise Ireland and DCU, it's amazing how much overlap we see. Both of us are committed in terms of our values to work with Indigenous Irish industry. And actually, more than that, we put our resources in the same place. And this partnership on this program is I suppose, a testament to that this is what we value. This is what we think is important. It's not that we don't value working with foreign direct investment, with the Intels and the Facebooks and whatever, but actually in DCU, we actually put a little bit more stock in trying to help Irish industry develop, because in honesty, that's the future of the country. This is controllable from inside our borders, okay? If you are the leaders of large-scaling organizations of the future, then the likelihood that you are going to flow the benefits of your growth back into Ireland are much, much higher than some organization or some firm that comes from outside. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen, that's the Small Business Charter logo. We're the only university or institution in the Republic that has that logo. What does it mean? It's an international accreditation, which shows that it's not just me saying this, but actually we do put our resources into working with and meeting the needs of small businesses, not just large businesses. So it's part of our strategy, part of our value system, and indeed where we put our resources. So who's been on the program in the past? For those of you that are joining us from the far reaches, this is a sort of a breakdown of the geographic spread, I suppose, of the firms that have been with us on GoGlobal up to now. About 147, as you can see. There are some of the sectors that they have come from, and the distribution. Just about every county at this stage in the Republic has been represented in the alumni of the program. Listen, I couldn't get a screen big enough to put obviously the 147 logos on this, but I just want you to get a sense of the variety and the diversity of firms that have been on the program over the last 9 iterations. And looking at that, you'll see household names, you'll see firms that are big, that are historical, that go back many generations, and you'll see firms that are new. Not maybe startups, but that are in their first generation, a couple of years old. You'll see them from different sectors, from, I'm looking at it, recruitment, brewing, the med tech, engineering, food, all sorts of areas, all sorts of sectors, in fact, sectors that you wouldn't even expect. Now, that's an important part with this program. Sometimes firms look at this and go, well, we're a large engineering firm. I'm going to be in a room with somebody that's running a Med Online or a recruitment firm or a marketing and branding firm. What am I going to learn from those? What you learn from these is way more than what you would learn from others from from the same sector. And I'll assure you of that. I've seen it again and again and again in every program we run, how it's the different ways of looking at challenges, the different ways of looking at problems, the different ways of looking at opportunities, actually is the source of innovation, the source of new ideas. So we will maintain that. We will maintain a mix in the room as much as possible so that we sort of harvest that innovation and diversity. I noticed my screen flashing here. Hopefully the connection will stay strong for you all. I'll keep going anyway to explain the core of what the program is about. So starting at the bottom of this little graphic, first of all, what we will provide you with, and those from your team that join, is a pretty substantial, up-to-date learning platform that is filled with materials, resources, online case studies, all sorts of things that allow you go and draw down all sorts of resources, insights, and tools over time. But that's just the supportive background that's part of the program. Indeed, we have an app that for the program that will allow you access that whenever you want. The core part of it, from my perspective, is are the 6 one-day master classes. We put them together into 2-day blocks, and we call them 3 modules of 2 days. And within these are the 6 pillars that Enterprise Ireland have identified over the last 2 decades as being absolutely central and important to any firm, any SME that's going to grow, that's going to scale significantly and internationalize. 6 pillars, and we will dedicate a full day workshop to each one of those 6 pillars. On top of those 6 days, though, you also get personal coaching with the growth advisor team that we have attached to the program. And there's team coaching, where your full senior leadership team will be met by this experienced coach, and you'll have 5 half days per firm that will help you with your team dynamics and also a sort of a collective coaching experience. But on top of that, each individual that is on the program will also get individual coaching, as well as a sort of a leadership profile that will do with you, a psychometric test. And the growth advisor, your coach will have one-to-ones with you working on that, looking at where your challenges are and how you strengthen some of the areas that it has identified for you as strengths. So there's these sort of 4 blocks or 4 stages to the program. But let's look at the sort of things that you'll be doing. Down the left-hand side here, you see the 6 pillars. So pillar 1 is strategy. Pillar 2 is leadership and performance. Pillar 3 is taking a strategic approach and ownership for your finance. In other words, your financial decisions are tied to your strategic decisions and vice versa. That you develop operational excellence, and this works for service firms as well as for firms that may be in the manufacturing sector or indeed any sector. Taking a strategic approach to sales and a strategic approach to marketing, and then innovation strategy also. We know that from all the research that we've done right throughout Europe, the importance of having an approach, a conscious, mapped approach to innovation for an SME is so important. All our research tells us that SMEs that grow and succeed in internationalizing are those who have their finger on the pulse of innovation. So they're not running in a straight line. They're not stagnant. They're seeking to innovate. They're seeking to change. They're seeking to be ahead of their peers and ahead of competition. And you can see on the right-hand side some of the tools and outcomes that you will get from participating in the workshops that focus on the 6 pillars. Okay, this is an attempt to model what the attendance at the workshops will look like. So we'll start with a day on March the 7th, which will be our finale. That's bringing everybody together, getting to know the other firms that are in the room with you. That will be part of the program cohort, and beginning to use some of the first tools that we'll introduce you to, which will help you diagnose, for example, your current approach to strategy. And we'll that's almost a starter day to get everybody together, to get the feel of what we're involved in. Then we come together for the 3 contiguous day modules. The first of those, and this is important to emphasize, is an actual residential. So you'll come to us here in DCU Business School, and the 2 days will be spent here at the dedicated Executive Education Centre in the DCU Business School, but we will have an overnight in an adjacent hotel also, and that will give us the opportunity to network that evening. We'll have a dinner, guest speakers, that sort of thing, so that we really get to know the other firms that are in the room, begin to swap and connect with them, and learn for them over the 2 days. You'll see from that graphic, our first 2 days are focused on getting your strategy right, in particular looking at what your value proposition is and stress testing that. And the second day will look at leadership at a personal level, but also looking at the roles and responsibilities of a senior leadership team, a professional leadership team, and then looking at how you cascade this professionalism down to looking at your staff and assessing their performance, setting goals and things like that. We have a break of, you can see from that April date through to the end of May. So that's about 6 weeks in there. In between those 6 weeks, your growth advisor, your coach will be visiting your firm. Okay, so it's not like you come and 3 punctuated visits for this program. The program actually runs right throughout, with the coaches visiting and calling on you at an individual level and at a team level in the gaps between the modules. So growth advisors appearing in there. We meet again back in DCU on May 30th and 31st. This isn't residential. We'll ask you to make your way to DCU for those 2 days, and then we'll have a look at operational excellence on those 2 days. And again, some of you may have put your toe into this area if you're in the manufacturing domain. Others among you may not be familiar with it. We sort of promise you, look, everybody will benefit from this, no matter what the level of sophistication you're at in terms of operational excellence. There's always real takeaways from this. The day after that, we focus on putting innovation into your strategy if it isn't already there, and we'll help others among you who may already have this as a key focus. We'll get you to stretch and push further on your strategy. We break again then, and I won't see you until the end of June. But again, the growth advisors, Roddy and his team, will be out visiting you in your sites in the period in between that. But in late June, we come back again for 2 contiguous days where we'll take a strategic view of finance, linking financial decisions back to your strategic decisions. And this workshop is about ensuring that everybody on the senior leadership team, they don't become a finance expert, but they begin to recognize that actually the decisions they make have financial implications, and to understand that and to take some role and responsibility for that as well. And that's part of becoming an effective professional senior leadership team, where we begin to step out of our functional area expertise and we begin to see ourselves as actually sharing some of the decisions right across these domains. Our final day then will be, again, taking a strategic approach to sales and a strategic approach to marketing. That's on June 28th. Your coaches, again, your growth advisors, will visit you in the period between that and the finale day. And the finale day is a sort of a celebration of the program out in September of 2023, late on in September, or sorry, first week in September, but late on after the summer. And we're going to ask you to come back that day and sort of put together a poster for us that captures where you are on your Go Global journey, but really most importantly, which is projecting your goals for the firm out for 12 months, 24 months, after the program is finished, and putting some key goals, key metrics associated with your goals for growth and your goals for internationalization. So that gives you a sort of a sense of the shape of the program. The digital agenda is so important that we're going to weave that through those 6 workshops to try and give you an insight into how digitization will help you in each one of these areas also. And in each one of these sessions that we have, we will also have a piece where we bring in some CEOs that have been through this program before and have used some of these workshops, and they'll help you understand how you might apply those in your firm, the difficulties, the challenges they had, what they did that improved the applications and the tools that we used in the program. And it gives you an opportunity to question them as well, to see, listen, how did you get over this hump? What about going into this market? Whatever it may be that's on your agenda at that stage. Not necessarily looking to an academic or an expert to lead it, but actually somebody that's been through the process themselves. We'll also give you special sessions where you sit with others in the group and learn from each other, so that you're not just listening to some expert at the top of the room leading you through exercises and tools, but actually you get a chance to work with others in the room that come from different sectors to learn and gain insight into how they have progressed thus far. This program is pretty special. I would go beyond what Jonathan would say. I think it is probably the most successful program in the Enterprise Ireland portfolio of programs. Some of the alumni, and we'll have 3 of them coming along in a few minutes that will tell you about their experience. The impact on their firms has been more than significant. Some of them have had really, really serious would, when they look at their growth, they would really attribute it to some key insights and decisions that were made while attending the GoGlobal4Growth program. Just to dispel, I suppose, some ideas, though, God, we're going to a university and we're going to a business school. Folks, here's the insight. We won't get you to read a chapter. There are no case studies. There's no homework. There are no assignments. Nothing like that. All I'm asking you to do is bring yourself and bring your team with a readiness on the day to engage with the tools and insights that my experts have taken and adapted to help your firms grow. And I promise you, and I commit to you, we will help your firm grow. But you have to come with an open mind, a readiness to engage, and to work with the tools and with the growth advisor team when you're here with us and with them. And it will have effect. No homework, no nothing like that. We have no truck with that. If we can't do it in the room, then we're not doing it right, is our approach. So the cost to you is the time that you're here with us and the time with your growth advisors. Now, if you want to spend extra time on stuff, terrific. You probably gain benefit from that, but we won't waste 1 minute of your time doing anything that's in any way sort of academic or esoteric. That's my commitment to you in terms of the impact of the program. There's a big team sitting behind it. You can see Anne-Marie here already. She sort of pulls the strings on a lot of the operational stuff, but we have loads of people that have put the tools together, put the videos and the interviews and all those sorts of stuff that's on the learning platform. I'm going to introduce you to Roddy Feely now, who is one of the leaders of the growth advisors, but he has a team that sits behind him as well. And we have a big team here at DCU. We'll see them all when you come in to us in the executive education unit here within the business school that will assist you on the days that you're in as well. So this is it's a pretty big operation and a pretty professional operation that you'll be joining, just to give you that sense of security about what you're engaging in. But also that I guess what I'm asking you to do is, to be pragmatic and take seriously what you're engaging in as well. Okay, at this moment, I'm going to hand over to Roddy and I'll mute, and Roddy Feely is going to talk to us a little bit about what the growth advisor role is about. Roddy.
Great, thanks very much, Finian. And as Finian said, my name is Roddy Feely. I'm the kind of program lead for Strategy Crowd. Just to introduce briefly Strategy Crowd. So we're 4 partners, myself, Florence, Frank and Jacques. All of us have fairly long careers long professional careers, if you like. I guess each of us over 25 years. I've been noticing over the last 9 iterations of the program that I'm getting more and more grey hair, but I'm also told by clients that looks like a good thing.
Hey, Roddy, at least you have hair.
Thanks. Holding on to it as much as I can, Finian. And in Strategy Crowd, we're a bunch of consultants. We come together when we need to. Each of us has their own consultancy. We tend to specialize in growth, and more particularly our sweet spot is SMEs. We work directly with SMEs. We work through programs and institutions and organizations such as Enterprise Ireland or European Bank for Reconstruction and Development and World Bank. So we're also working outside of Ireland in an international environment with SMEs. And I guess our philosophy is about impact. How can we have impact with our clients, and bringing together some of our own experience, having had senior roles in companies, and combining that with what we're picking up and learning as we as consultants learn from our clients, and start to recognize something that we believe is very important, particularly in working with companies and helping them to grow, which is kind of pattern recognition. So Finian mentioned that there's like 147 companies that on this particular program. We kind of did some numbers there back end of last year. We've worked with over 1,000 companies. And on this particular program, I've worked with 37, and they're from a cross section of those industry sectors that Finian highlighted earlier on in terms of past participants in the program. So we're gaining insights into industry sectors and into different companies, into different people, different styles of leadership, and trying to help that bring that together, if you like. And I guess it's becoming more and more our passion to work with SMEs, and that's an area we have decided to specialize in. So in terms of the role that we have and how we're going to work with you guys on this program, we've kind of distilled it down into three kind of key areas. And I'm actually going to begin with the middle one, facilitator. You will have the opportunity coming to the modules in DCU to be exposed to new theory, hopefully new ideas, maybe some frameworks and tools. And we will discuss and help you during the modules. We'll be there with you, working with you. But then we help you bring them back into the business. And we'll facilitate maybe further discussions about topics that you've picked up during the modules and say, well, how does that fit with your business? Where does that fit with your strategy for growth? How could you implement and take something here and actually turn it into something that will benefit your business? And we would tend to facilitate those discussions, particularly in the team environment. We'll meet you 5 times over the course of the program. We also act as advisors, and that's us helping you maybe through our experience. So look, we may have worked in an operational environment where we're able to pull on something that, look, this is what I did in my career. Here's an experience I had. How would you feel about that? Here's some stuff that we started to recognize as we worked with more and more SMEs. So we kind of advise based on pulling on that experience and then on some practical challenges and that we've helped other companies overcome. And finally, we coach, and we coach both in the team environment, and we coach and help that team kind of work together better and perhaps more efficiently as a team. Sometimes we will coach perhaps and provoke a bit more honesty across the team in terms of, are we really being honest with each other? Are we really actually getting to the nub of the challenges and the problems within the business? And then, as Finian outlined earlier, using the 360 leadership report, we then engage with you on a one-to-one level and talk about your own leadership skills and, what are your strengths and where are the opportunities to improve there. So you're kind of saying, I always refer back to anybody who can remember the life of Brian. What have the Romans ever done for us? And this slide is asking, what will your growth advisor do for you? And I guess the first thing to say to you is that both at the team meetings and in the one-to-one sessions, you're able to have those discussions with us in confidence and know that, look, it's not going to go beyond the room, be it in the one-to-one sessions or in the team sessions. So we can actually open up and talk about the real issues and challenges within the business. And it's our job as advisors and coaches to kind of gain your trust and help you move forward like that. We'll challenge you, and from time to time, we'll deliberately move you out of your comfort zone as a team, as a senior team, and challenge maybe some of your thinking or how you interact with each other. And often we might ask the question that nobody else in the room will ask to really unearth an issue and get behind it. Just to kind of wrap up and to kind of maybe give a little bit more of a practical examples of how we help and engage with clients in the program. I've just come off round 3 of program 9. So I've met my cohort of companies. I have 5 companies. I've met 4 out of the 5 in the last week. So we already have a relatively good understanding. I understand where the business needs to go, and we've talked about how they might get there and so on. But I took the opportunity to ask those 4 companies, said, okay, look, this is our 3rd time together, our 3rd meeting. Give me a couple of examples of stuff that you think you've gained, something that's kind of helped maybe change your mindset, change how you're approaching things in the business. And actually, all 4 companies came up with the same 2 things, and I thought they were quite interesting. The first one was when we first started out together, they were not using data and financial information to help them make business decisions in the company. And in some companies, they had a form of it. In other companies, they weren't using any at all. And that was one of the first things that we kind of got into conversation with those companies. And now they're using what data is available to help them make decisions and to look at that data on a regular basis. And the second thing they weren't doing was they weren't meeting as a senior team. It was ad hoc, it was conversations in the corridor, and a lot of them were saying, Roddy, look, we're firefighting. We're going at such a pace. We don't have time to stop and have another meeting. There's loads of meetings going on. Or, Roddy, in our industry, we don't do things that way. And I've kind of been encouraging them to sit down as a team and use this program as kind of as the context and also the driver or the motivation to continuously meet. Have a set agenda and have the opportunity to do three things. One, review performance. Are we actually performing where we need to be? If not, do we understand why? Take a look forward. Maybe it's 3 months or 4 months out and say, well, what's coming at us? Do we fully understand what we need to handle and how we're going to handle it? Are we resourced correctly, et cetera, et cetera? And the third one then is the strategy. So what are we doing about our strategy in the context of Go Global? They're knitting the Go Global conversations into those monthly sessions, and they're starting to get their heads around the direction they're going in and starting to land some things in the business that are important to them, and more importantly, having the discussions. And all four companies are moving the needle forward. And it really is a practical outcome of, we can run the business slightly differently, get more data involved in how we use and there's our decisions, but more importantly, at a senior level business, we sit down once a month for a couple of hours and we talk about how our business is performing and where it needs to go. So there you go. That's some insights there. Hopefully that will encourage you to sign up for the program and join us on our 10th iteration. Thanks, Finian.
Fantastic, Roddy. Thank you so much. Roddy makes a really important time. Think of it a point, I think. What we're doing by getting you to come all the way to DCU is it's not so that you sort of enjoy our great coffee, food, and all the rest of it here. It's actually to get you the hell out of the office with 2 or 3 others. And then to focus your minds not on your current customer challenge or whatever is happening on that day, but actually to give you a bit of headspace, you and the team, where you start clarifying some issues, some key topics and challenges that you're facing. With that space with others who are doing exactly the same thing over those 2 days, you'd be surprised how hard, you wouldn't be surprised at all, but how hard it is to get time to do that when the phone is ringing and the door is knocking and people are looking to catch you from one side, the other side. You've got to put out fires, solve problems and all the rest of it. We sort of get you in here and say, okay, you can keep doing that, or you could be really strategic about it and let's have some real deep, mature conversations about where the firm is going, setting ourselves some mature, honest to God goals with reference to that. And that's really what the program is about. Roddy and his team they're awesome. Some of you will have experienced them in other domains in the past. They're the real implementers. With the coaches is where the rubber hits the road on this program. Fantastic, Roddy. I'm going to hand over to Anne-Marie. Are you going to talk to us a little bit about the supports that come with the program and other things that participants should know before we move on and ask our 3 alumni to speak a little bit about their experience on the program?
Indian, thank you. Yes, I will only take a very short space of time. Everybody that comes on the program actually is onboarded through EI Learn, and some of you may already have access to that or are familiar with it. There's a wealth of tools, learning resources. They're provided by Enterprise Ireland, so you will have access to that as part of the program. And separately, we have a dedicated Go Global platform that's available. It's available as an app, but you can access it directly from your desktop as well via website. And all of the resources and materials that are being used as part of the program are supported through this. So all the communication will be driven from the platform. Any of the agenda and the timings for the next and upcoming pieces or modules that are happening are all communicated out via the platform. And Enterprise Ireland keep in touch with you too directly as part of the program. So that's really all I wanted to share with you. Just as I said, very short and sweet. And Finian, I'll pass back to you because I know our alumni are here with us at the moment. If you'd like to introduce them and kick off the next part of this briefing, please.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Yeah, just to give you a heads up on who is joining us this afternoon, and I'm so grateful to them for taking time out from their busy schedules to come and talk to us today online. Dave McMorrow, as you can see, comes from Ward Automation. Dave Crimmins is joining us from Medihive, and Krina Turley, who, when she was with us on the program, was with the Art of Pop, but now, as you can see, is with Capella. So I think just the easiest way for me to do this is first to welcome all three of you, but to maybe go in turn. And Dave, you've appeared on my screen, so you're the first guinea pig. Would you mind maybe first of all, because we have 90 people on the call this afternoon, if you wouldn't mind explaining a little bit about Ward Automation, a small little bit about the history, your size, and then what brought you to Go Global originally?
Okay, thank you, Finian. So my name is Dave McMorrow, and I'm the managing director of a company in Galway called Ward Automation. It's a company of two sites. There's a site in Sligo and a site in Galway. They're very independent and separate. So I'm the founder and owning managing director here in Galway. We're 15 years in business. What we do is we design and build customized machinery for the manufacture of medical devices. Very specialized work, very complex. People here would be mechanical design engineers, electrical design, software development. So we build very high quality, complex machinery for very discerning blue chip multinationals. We've been 15 years in business. We've been getting busier and busier and busier every year, but we kind of needed to stand back and say, where are we going as a company? So the opportunity to do the GoGlobal4Growth, came along, and I got to tell you, it's really been transformational. Like, we have learned so much. It's been a huge amount of work. There's no denying it. You will need to make the time for it. The opportunity to grow and develop your business and get inputs from really experienced people has been immense. Like, we've had fresh eyes in here that have pointed out things we never would have seen ourselves, or worse, we might have seen and preferred to ignore. You'll get feedback. You'll get 360 feedback. Some of it won't be comfortable. You might prefer if it wasn't true, but you're going to have to take the feedback if you want to grow. And, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone, as Roddy said earlier. And I suppose the one thing about the comfort zone is it's comfortable, but it won't get you anywhere. So you are going to be challenged. You are going to take pain. You are going to have to find the time. But you will look back and say, geez, that is the best thing I could have done for the business. And we're still early in the journey. We finished the program there early last year, Q1 of last year, we completed the program. But when you complete the program, really, you're only starting. But, we have a strategy now that's built on 6 pillars, and we're regularly reviewing that strategy. And there's no denying it, the company has been improving in leaps and bounds already. And, we see a huge opportunity for us and a huge future. And, doing the program has really been transformational for us.
You're so good. Thank you, Dave. I'm going to go to Krina next, if that's okay, Anne-Marie. Hi, Krina. Good to see you.
How are you? It's lovely to be here. So I'm kind of a wild card here today because I started the program with one company, and I'm now in another company. And I think it's very brave of you to let me speak about that. I'm grateful for it. What we really enjoyed about the program was that took the team out of the weeds, and we worked with Roddy. Roddy was our mentor, and I've since been in touch with him a couple of times as well. So that's a great relationship that has continued. And it brought us back to kind of some of the basics that you forget as you develop as a management team and a leadership team. It really made us drill into kind of how we valued innovation, how we defined product market fit, and all of those really practical pieces that are so important in a business. And then when I was doing it, it was 2019, COVID hit, and everything that we had been told on the program would be important suddenly became really, really important. We had decided to internationalize the business, and actually I was in Toronto trying to do an acquisition as Leo Varadkar was closing the schools in Dublin. So suddenly everything was in flux, and the idea of internationalizing looked different, and it very much became about that innovation piece. And the management team ourselves, we discovered that we had different priorities, and we very amicably, I stepped out of that business and I started Capella. So to tell you a little bit about Capella, we're experts in hybrid working, and we deliver software that facilitates hybrid working and allows people to book to work from the office or to look after their health and safety while they're at home. So previously in TAP, we had been designing office spaces. So what I did is I took the innovation and technology piece to what we were doing previously, and I ran with it. And it is an international business. So everything I learned about internationalizing a business from the program, I put into practice very, very much now in this business. And I'm happy to say that we're going from strength to strength. We're in the US and we're right across Europe, and we've taken funding recently. So it's been a very positive thing for me. It's been a positive thing for TAP, because they stayed with what they were doing. I stepped into what I wanted to do. And certainly there were some difficult conversations, and there were some challenging moments, and there was an awful lot of learning. But we took ourselves out of the office as a management team, and it gave us the time to do that. And it gave me, certainly as an individual, the time to understand that innovation and technology was the direction that I wanted to go.
Thanks, Karina. That's thanks for your honesty too, and sort of authenticity in explaining the story and what happened. But I think it's sort of a point well worth making, to be honest, and for all CEOs and potential team members that might join the program out there, is there will be a lot of frank conversations. It would not be that unusual that the team that appears at this program on the first day, by the end of the program, is not the same team, because we have those absolute frank, straight, honest conversations. And if some of the team see the goals in the future laying in this direction and others don't, then it's not really that unusual that we have different personnel. Let's put it that way. But that's the professional way to go about business, and really good to see that the content of the program follows anyway. It's not necessarily just tied to the firm, but goes beyond that. Thanks, Karina. That's really useful. I'm going to ask David. Hi, David. How are you? Good to see you. So will you talk to us a little bit about MediHive, a little bit of background first, David, if you don't mind, so that people can grasp what you're about?
Sure. Well, coming after Karina and Dave, I hope I can add something new, because a lot of what I'm going to discuss, the lads have already brought to the table. And actually, we have a similar type story to Karina, not quite the same, but we actually joined the program under the brand name WebDoctor. So WebDoctor was formed in 2012 when there was a GP in the Dublin city centre who was completely paper-based and just ran out of room in his clinic for any more paper records, and sort of decided to ask two friends who were very senior software engineers, what are the packages out there? What should I do to, computerize my practice? And these guys were at the sort of the Champions League level of software engineers. So they went out, looked at what was in the market, were totally aghast at how poor it was, and came back and basically said, it's all rubbish. This is the least rubbish package out there, but none of them really are fit for purpose in the 21st century. And literally out of kind of a hobby nearly to help their friend who was the GP, they built a small software platform that actually revolutionized his practice. Because what we do, whether it's under MediHive or now or previously under WebDoctor, is we remove friction from patient pathways. And that friction can be for the patient. So Ireland is the best in class at having friction in their healthcare pathways. So you go and see your GP, When you then get referred into a doctor or a consultant, you have to tell the whole story again. There isn't one single electronic health record for you in this country, where most countries have that. But even in those countries that have that electronic health record system, they have friction too. So you have friction for the patient, friction for this clinician, and friction for another stakeholder who usually gets ignored, which is the administrator, because very often it's the person on reception who has to, you know, triple entry something. So WebDoctor started in that vein. Then the guys felt, geez, this is actually something we can sell. So they went to sell it to other GPs who were ran a mile from and threw stones and everything at them, because they thought this was voodoo health, having a telehealth conversation and not being in a practice to see someone. So in order to prove that their software worked, they set up an online telehealth company called WebDoctor.ie. And that actually went on to be, and is, super successful, and it's Ireland's biggest telehealth. But actually at the core of what we are is a software company. So we joined the program at a really pivotal moment in the company's trajectory. So around the time I joined, I was also joined by a CFO, a chief people officer, etc. Up until that point, the company had been founder-led. And so we were coming in and we had to bring structures in, processes in, because we needed to scale the business and we needed to grow, just like Karina and Dave were saying, outside of Ireland. And we couldn't do it if everything just fell on the shoulders of the founders. So when we wanted to get it outside of Ireland, we had some debates around the branding, because the branding is very strong in Ireland, but it only represents about 10% of what we do. So hence Medihive. And I always remember we kind of knew what the name was coming into it, but we had I think nearly the first place we revealed the new name was on the program, and everybody had to change their conversation was to go from WebDoctor to Medihive. So Medihive, as said, is a software company, and what we really enjoyed about the program was very much what already has been spoken about. So we did meet and do meet regularly as a senior management team, but I think it was Finian, you said it, we're in the weeds. So this was a time where you kind of effectively put the mobile down for at least a 2 or 3 hour spin before you got a break, and you could give the headspace to the areas that were being discussed, whether it's marketing or sales or finance, etc. And also for me, I had an extra benefit, which was we were a brand new team, because I just literally recruited some of the people who had joined. And even before COVID, WebDoctor back then was always virtual. We've no office, effectively. So trying to build those emotional bonds with my own colleagues, that was a really important sort of secondary I suppose benefit of the program. But the primary benefit is, again, as the two previous speakers have said, it was all around the strategy, joining it up, looking at it from the top down and then from the bottom back up to make sure it all sort of aligned. And as we were, as I said, doing this rebrand, and how does that impact? How do we get the culture to, whether you're a doctor on the WebDoctor side of the house or you're an engineer on the Medihive side of the house, you still feel you're part of one of the same company, etc. And I found the speakers, which we haven't really discussed too much today, but the program brings in specialists in whatever topic that are being covered. I only missed one session, and so I can absolutely say in every session I was at, they were really great speakers, very inspirational in how they delivered their message. And then the pièce de résistance for me was, I don't know if she's on the call, but she is, I'll embarrass her, was Laurence. So Laurence was our advisor, and she was brilliant. And probably no different to, I think Karina was mentioned, she was with Roddy, but Laurence was excellent. And she comes from a marketing background, so it was perfect timing as we were moving from one brand to another.
Fantastic, David. A really important point is, for people to be ready, the program is sort of transformational. And okay, that's a word that's bandied around a lot, but there is absolutely no way that your team will be the same team from when they join the program to at the end of it, just because of the sort of serious, frank conversations that we have about roles, responsibilities, and where the firm is going. There needs to be a readiness for that. So there needs to be a bit of thinking too about, who is this program appropriate for certain individuals that are in your senior team? Or maybe it's time for you to start considering one or two individuals who you hadn't thought about hitherto that maybe should be on your senior team, and that an experience like this will really help, as David indicated there, bond them and bring them to a certain point. Listen, I'm going to just throw one question out that comes up every time we do this, whether it's face-to-face or online, to Dave, or David or Krina, and that is, there are firms sitting here among the 90 odd that are online thinking, that sounds like a decent program, but Jesus, that's an awful lot of days away from the office. And not just for me, who look at my phone and look at my inbox already, but you're talking about tripling it by taking at least 2 or 3 others that are absolutely core to the running of this firm and bringing them to this damn thing over the next 8 months. I don't know whether I can afford that sort of time. Response?
Like anyone who's in business, every day you make decisions. So, I mean, everyone has to weigh up. There's a pros and cons. I mean, for me, it was better for us to, even if it was 1 step back, to use that kind of hackneyed phrase, it was 2 steps forward. Right. So, yeah, like if you're looking at, if we were on a production line, we were taking 3 guys off the production line for a day or 2 at a given time. And, but the 3rd day when we were back at the office, the question was, were we contributing more than we were 4 days earlier before we'd gone on the course? And so if you can make that sort of judgment call, then yes, absolutely. For 48 hours, you're not doing what you were doing the previous couple of days. But when you come back, you're doing it better than you were. And, it's not, I don't want to get, over dramatize this. It's not like, there's a light bulb and everything goes off. So it's a gradual thing, and, but you will always pick up a couple of nuggets in those 2 days. And then eventually you get to join all those nuggets together. And then that's when you get the benefit.
Thanks, David. Krina or Dave?
Yeah, I'd agree. Sorry, Dave. I'd agree. I think that's well said. If you're doing the same thing over and over, and the plans you're creating, the formal documents you're creating are sales plans, and it's the same template as you use every year, and you're not looking at innovation, and you're hoping that things will remain the same, you're going to have trouble. And certainly when trouble came knocking with COVID for us, because we were designing high-end, really nice office spaces, and no one was going back into the office. I was able to sit down and go, okay, things have changed now. Let's look at technology, and let's look at innovation. And now we're finding the link between time that people are spending in the office and career progression in our software. We're able to report on that. We're able to report on all sorts of stuff. And if I hadn't had the mindset to innovate, I'm not sure I would be where I am. I certainly wouldn't, and I'm not sure the business would have survived either.
Yeah, and I would second that.
Just to consider this as well, yeah.
Yeah, completely. It is going to take time, but it's an investment of time, and you're going to get that time back in spades if you're committed and you do it correctly. If I wasn't here for a week last April, is it really going to make any difference now? No, it's not. But if I wasn't here for a week and I invested that time in changing the company, it's going to make a difference now. Absolutely. Like the benefits, I think, have been immense. But it will put you under pressure, but it will allow you to grow and develop your company in a way that you probably won't, because, if we hadn't done it, we would have just kept doing what we were always doing. And, it's like strategy. Strategy is everything. You got to be thinking of the impact of what you're doing now, not how it affects next week, but what the impact is in 5 years' time.
Yeah. And
that strategic mindset is very, very important, and that was a great revelation to me. I learned a huge amount, and it's for the benefit of the entire business and for your staff. It's and your customers. It's every aspect of the business will benefit if you go in there and you're committed. But you need to make the commitment and stick with it. You need to be sure that you really want your company to grow. But if you do, I would highly recommend this. And the advisors, the quality of advisors involved, and tuition has been absolutely first class. It's some of the best training I've ever experienced.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you for saying that, Dave, and thanks, Krina and David as well. Listen, enough from me asking questions. There must be a lot of people online that are sort of interested in asking the guys about their experiences as well. That might help you make a decision. So I'm going to throw it open to the floor. You can break in, or you can put a question into chat also, and Anne-Marie will sort of monitor what's happening in the chat. But does somebody want to ask a question by just unmuting and giving us a second to connect with them?
Yeah, I was just wondering, Dave, it's Noel Dolan here from Gallery down here in Kerry, Industry 4.0 integrators. I know John from your Sligo office, John Ward, and I just wonder, has John applied your learnings into the Sligo depot?
The short answer is I don't actually know. The sites are run entirely differently. We have separate management on both sites, but I would be surprised if John and the team in Sligo don't follow in our shoes, because they've seen the benefits firsthand as well, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it to them.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Noel, as well, for the question.
Thank you.
Finian, thank you. I also just see a message after coming through in chat, and it's open to all three alumni. The question is, have you had experience of other EI programs such as the Learn Start or strategic business planning before you actually came on Go Global? And if so, did you find anything that was repetitive, from those all the programs?
Well, I didn't anyway, so no for me.
I did international selling years ago, and we would have done Lean Start in the business. I would have been quite active and still quite active with Enterprise Ireland, gratefully so. And from the program, would have taken on a key manager through Enterprise Ireland as well. I didn't find repetition between all the programs that we did, although some executive training, there are some basics that will be covered, but albeit in different styles.
Yeah, and likewise, there was some overlap, but the content of this is far greater amount of content and a far greater amount of depth, along with mentoring and coaching by experienced people. So this is far in depth than anything people are likely to have experienced on the other courses. So I don't think you will be duplicating. If anything, you'll be reinforcing.
Yeah, I just to reiterate what Creena and Dave are saying, we're sort of aware of where the other programs are, and clearly they're building. Some of them are building from the same pillar, but this is a team program, and I reiterate again, this program will not work for you if you come alone. Now that's different to the other programs. This is set up for team discussions, team decision making. All the tools, all the techniques, all the takeaways are team-based. So it's collaborative, everybody getting onto the same chapter. So it's not like somebody going to a program and then has to go back and educate others. This is the team arriving back with an agreed approach to it. So the dynamic is at a different level as well on the GoGlobal4Growth program.
Hi everyone, I have a question. My name is Katerina, the company is Bonafide. So it seems like all of you were on your you were not necessarily early on in your journey when you went on this program. We are a startup, so we are just about to launch. We've been in business for a while, developing the product, but we're just about to launch. Are we too early to go on this program? It seems to me that the benefits are great, regardless of where you're at in the journey. I just want to make sure that the program is not tailored to people who have been and actively in business for a few years. What are your thoughts on that?
No, it's a really important question that you asked, Katerina, and thanks. It's maybe something that I should have highlighted in the introduction. Really, the program is situated or focused on firms that have been in existence for some period of time, that are at a certain point of growth. You really do have to have a senior team, and I don't mean just a senior team, and that's all there is in the firm. You probably need people that report to that senior team. I'm trying to think back through the smallest firm we had on the program was probably somewhere around 10 or 15 employees, right through to our largest is several hundred, obviously. But you need to be at a certain stage of maturity or evolution for the program to work for, because what it is about, in a way, it's sort of just getting a professional team together, but that means delegating to those beneath that senior leadership team. So I guess my answer is, if you're a start off with only a handful of people, and really that's the senior team and no others, this program probably isn't styled and designed for that. If Jonathan or Yvonne from Enterprise Ireland are still on the call, they might like to just add a little bit of insight and some extra to that point. Yvonne?
Yeah, sure. So probably going to echo, Finian, what you said, but I think what we would find when we're looking at some of the companies that are very early established and don't have that team behind them, they can't actually take the time out of the business to focus on the program. So that is a challenge. So, if you just have that senior team in place and you don't have a team that are working, alongside you or behind you, for you to be able to take the time out of the program and work on this and give it the time it deserves is actually a much bigger challenge. So, I think it's a conversation, Catherine, we can have a chat separately and get a bit more understanding as to where you're at. And I think Helen McAuliffe is your DA as well, and have a chat with Helen if we think the timing might work or not for yourselves. But it's something that certainly at an early stage you should really consider.
Great, thanks. I appreciate that. We do have a senior team. We're going to be growing very rapidly now. We're just funded and we're just in the process of starting. But it just listening to everyone's experiences and their, the thought just struck me. So thank you for that.
No problem. I might just come in on a question that's come up in the box that's quite similar to that. So is the ambition to take the business global a prerequisite for participation in the program? I suppose that the program is to support your company in developing and working towards being in a position where global growth is an outcome that will eventually happen. So and Dermot, I see, has come in to say, yes, we're an export agency, so it would be desirable that exports would be an outcome. It can be that you're a step away from it and you're working towards it, but absolutely we'll be working with you to try and get your business in a position that you can internationally scale and grow.
If I may come in and just with a separate question as well that's also come through to chat, and I may open this up to our alumni as well, but the question is, do the members of the team that are attending the program change during the program, just depending on the subject matter, or do we stick with the same core people, core 3 or 4 members on the program? Now, we have a view obviously from how programs have run generally, but would David or Dave or Karina, would you like to come in and just give your view as to what worked best for all of you?
Well, I think maybe this has been clarified. I'll be honest, I think there was confusion about this from the program, because we brought an additional person because it was a marketing one, but then we were told we had to pay an additional amount for that person. So, I think ideally it should be the core team, but there needs to be clarity for the participants to say, well, if I swap John out and bring Mary in, is Mary now charged out, etc.? Because that obviously is something that we weren't expecting when it happened. So ideally the core, but you might want to have some people in and out.
Yeah, we had the same core team all the way through, and I think that will work very well, because it gave everybody the same perspective and put us all on the same page. I personally, I don't think transitioning people in for some sessions and out for other sessions would have worked as well, not for our company.
We were the same. We kept the core team.
Yeah. And if I might just jump in to add to build on what the guys are saying. So typically the core team tends to stay together for the complete program. But depending on the client need and the necessity perhaps to distill and to have a conversation across a broader group of the team, that's something we tend to facilitate in the team meetings. So I've often had clients where they've got 3 or 4 people on the program, but 3 or 4 other people have joined the team meetings because they wanted to debate a particular topic with a broader perspective from their management team. And that's something we can facilitate through the team sessions.
Thanks, Roddy. Could I just add as well, I know that, you know, from time to time, for various reasons, somebody cannot attend a particular module, and that may happen quite last minute. You know, it is possible to substitute another member of the firm in to work as part of the team. We do look to have and hope to have a full working team at the modules, because it just helps be able to draw everything together for the firm, and that at least there are 3 members of the team present at one time. Finian, is that it?
Sorry, Emery, I was just about to come in actually to add to that as well. So the core members of the team will be the team that avail of the 360, the individual coaching, and as Roddy said, they can expand the conversation with the growth advisor sessions and bring more people to that. But there have been occasions where, you know, team members, something cropped up and Mary couldn't attend, so it was a marketing slot and somebody from the marketing team attended that module. So we do a swap out if that happens, but we, you know, when you sign up a core team, they're the team that we, I suppose, expect to see at the sessions, but obviously we want you and your business to get the most value out of the session. So if there's somebody from the team that can't make it, we would obviously try and facilitate somebody coming in and joining. That person coming in and joining a particular module wouldn't then be able to avail of the peer-to-peer networks or the 360, etc. That's purely for the core team that are signed up for the program. So if you have a team of 3, you know, that's the 3 that are signed up to all the complete elements of the program. If that makes sense.
Thanks, Yvonne. Can I just ask, if there are any further questions, Finian, forgive me, I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit. In the interest of time, I know that we still have 1 or 2 things to cover out, in particular with regard to the application. Is there anybody else that would like to raise 1 or 2 further questions while our alumni are here with us? Please just unmute if you can, in the interest of time, and we can keep things going ahead. Thank you very much. Right, I think this.
Can I just say, Yvonne, also, if anyone wants to reach out separately, by all means, you'll get me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to have a chat.
Yeah, and likewise, I will do the same.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Okay, will we progress, Anne-Marie?
Perfect.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to our guests, to David and Karina. Thanks for taking time out and sharing with the group. Sincere gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Finian, thank you. I will share a screen, and at this stage I might ask Yvonne if she can come in, because we're actually talking about the next steps.
Sure. Yeah. So some of the questions actually that have come into chat will be addressed in this area then as well. So, so just to talk to you about the next step. So just to clarify the cost associated with the program. So the cost for 3 people to attend the program is approximately €18,000, and Enterprise Ireland subsidised that in training grant. So the company cost would be €9,000 for 3 participants. We can sometimes facilitate a 4th or 5th participant from companies, just subject to the capacity in the room. And if you wanted to add additional participant, it's an extra €2,000. So it will be 11,000 if you wanted to bring 4, and 13,000 if you wanted to bring 5. So just that's the totals there in relation to cost. So if you're not eligible for training grant, we can give de minimis funding for the balance as well. So we handle that on a company by company basis. Our application date for closing date is the 27th of January, and you should have all received a link to the application form, but I can send it all again. You will all have my email address, and I'm happy to send it on. There's quite a lot of information that you need to put into the application form, so I have a PDF of that available. So if you wanted me to send that to you, so you could start preparing your information, pulling it together before actually sitting down to complete it on forms, I'm happy to do that and send it to you as well. Our brochure is available online, along with testimonials from previous clients and promotional videos as well. So you'll be able to see those if you log onto the Enterprise Ireland website. So just to clarify what's included in the cost of that programme, because that's something that has come up as well. So I've covered some of it, but your 3 participants, it covers all your in-person classroom days that you would have in DCU. Our first module is an overnight module, and your accommodation is covered for that module. So that's included in the 9,000 cost. Should you choose then to stay over for the following modules, that's something that you would do at your own cost. So that would be a company cost. DCU do kindly try and secure beneficial rates in hotels that are close to the business schools. And they would circulate those, but you would need to book directly, and the cost of that accommodation will be yours. Your 360 is covered for the individuals that are registered onto the program. The one-to-one coaching in relation to the 360, and then the support of the growth advisors throughout the program is covered as well. So we're due to launch on the 7th of March. So, and I know a number of you that are online have already submitted an application, so thank you. We do, if we get to oversubscription and we have tiebreakers for applications, the earlier application will be a deciding factor in who we award that place to. So if you are considering applying, as I said, there's a number of applications in already. I would encourage you to get those in as soon as you possibly can. So anybody have any questions in relation to that or in relation to the application process?
I think we're all good. Thank you very much, Yvonne. Finian, is there any final thing you would like to add at this stage, or do we feel we've
that was pretty comprehensive. I think the questions from the floor, if I can call it that, sort of interrogated some of the key issues, and one or two of the questions opened that up. Just again, I suppose to say, if often on something like this, you go and you reflect about it and you're having a think about it, just to be aware that your Enterprise Ireland DA will be really happy to help you with any queries you may have about this, or you can come directly to Yvonne, who you have here before you, and she shared her email, but also ourselves here at DCU. I'm happy to take emails or calls or any questions you may have. We're really, really happy to help you. And listen, get the application forms in, and really looking forward to seeing some of you here in person on March 7th.
Finian, I'm going to jump in for a moment, if I may. We do have one final question, which was just with regard to dates. Is there one programme running in 2023? And I think the answer to that at the moment is yes, that this will be the sole one. Yvonne, would you?
Yeah, at the moment, this is the only programme we've committed to for 2023. So we're due to look at what's happening after that, and we'll publish further dates when we've dates agreed.
Thank you. If there are any final questions, please just raise your hand. Yvonne has shared her contact information there for you in chat also, if you'd like to make note of it. Roddy, is there anything that you might like to, one final comment from you before we go?
No, I just encourage people to step up and take the challenge of growing their business. I think the feedback you got from our alumni there, it can be and is often very transformational for the business, and we'd be delighted to help you get there.